Hello everyone, and welcome to the first installment of Chain Lightning. As you may be aware, earlier this week, Wizards began publishing lists of decks that went 6-0, or potentially even longer, but at least 6 consecutive wins at Platinum rank or higher on the best of 3 ladder. Many of those decks look like things you could potentially see at a Grand Prix, or SCG event or something in paper. A couple of those lists, however, did not to me. And so in the interest of science, we're going to try to replicate the 6-0. So get it, we're going to chain some wins together, see if we can have lightning strike twice. We all thought it was pretty witty when our friend came up with that. So to prove to you that this list is really here, let me bring up the deck dump. You can see I've just imported this straight out. I had to put those Earl wildcards to use somewhere. Getting some Massacre Worms and Elder Gargaroths. One thing you'll notice is that there is no sideboard. This is a 60 card list. One of my weaknesses as a player is trying to figure out exactly what the deck designer intended with the sideboard when first picking up a list I'm unfamiliar with. So I'm kind of giving the thumbs up to Platinum to Mythic rank player for just foregoing the sideboard altogether. I will also admit one last thing, which is that I've not been playing Standard very much this season, so I'm actually Gold 3. So it's possible that there's something about playing this in the Platinum metagame, which we're not going to see the intricacies of since we're going to be playing this in Gold. But anyway, let's jump in and see what happens with a pile of black and green cards. All right, here we go for match number 1. Our hand has a Garrick in it. It's like I've already mulled the 6 with this Primal Might, right? What does Garrick do? It can make a 3/3 beast.
Keep.
All right, I guess I have both colors of mana here. I'll keep it. Opponent leads on Loft Pathway. I guess we're hoping for a 2-drop.
Yes, perfect. They fell into our trap.
I mean, I wish I had played a creature and then killed it with Primal
Our
Might,
trap was a removal spell.
but I guess this is fine. Well, now what's our best top deck? Crystalline Giant?
Always.
Liliana, Waker of the Dead. That is essentially a blank. Yeah, I mean, I can't give the Lotus Cobra -1/-1. Straight into an escape, so no Omnath from the opponent. They hit land, Canyon Jerboa, Tangled Florahedron, Gilded Goose.
They
Is
did
this...
find a good deck to match you against. They found the Canyon Jerboa.
I guess... Is Jerboa like a budget version of Felidar Retreat, maybe? Anyway, Liliana appears to do nothing, especially with 3 cards in exile waiting to be played in the future. So I guess we play a beast and get a counter back on Garrick. Garrick on 3.
What does Liliana's minus do?
It gives a creature -1/-1 until end of turn for each creature card in your graveyard.
A creature card.
Yeah, even if it were just card, I wouldn't be able to kill this stupid mouse. But we can wallop it at least.
By stupid, you mean adorable, right?
Something like that. All right, so the only card left in escrow over here is a Goose. We'll see if they feel like playing that. They do. 4 cards left and access to 3 mana. Goose 2. Well, I have to Primal Might something. Though I guess if they send the 2 creatures that they can send at the Garrick, then I could save it, but I can't. Ooh, the Gargfather.
I think you just make another beast and garb.
Yeah, I mean, what's the other option? Make Liliana and then just X0 fight something? It doesn't seem as good to me. So, alright, Garrick to 1 and then back up to 2. And put EG into the fray over here. Unfortunately, Garrett can no longer minus because he would get a loyalty counter back, but he would be at 0 while the ability was on the stack. Well, I'm in trouble, I think, if the opponent has lands. I think I'm in trouble if the opponent has spells as well. Obviously, they've represented the Omnath with the 4 lands that they put on the battlefield. But, I mean, Gargaroth blocks the geese, right? Is that the hope that they try to send a message and discover that it has reach? I mean, I could make a pretty big Gargaroth next turn. Garrett can give +3/+3, and I can just wallop something. Tangled Florahedra number 2 resolves. They do have ultimatum mana, but they do nothing with it. Okay. Well, it is still disappointing that this Liliana doesn't accomplish anything, though I guess if the opponent's on 2 cards in hand, maybe it's time to start working on their reserves. I'm assuming that they're stalled because they could make food with their geese. Alright, both players discard. I will throw away land number 7, which is redundant in this deck, essentially. I mean, it can help power out a big Primal Might, but I don't actually have any real use for that mana. My biggest spell is Massacre Worm. Alright, so let's say we're going to plus Garrick on Gargaroth. The opponent only has 2, 3, 4, 5 power, so I don't think I need to burn the Primal Might pre-combat. And I guess we'll just use Gargaroth to draw a card. I don't see what the third 3/3 is going to accomplish. And I clearly don't need life at the moment. I've drawn the quarterback. Alright, alright. Well, we've drawn 4 different mythics. It's pretty good. Playing a good bingo card here. So then the question is, do I want to kill the Cobra? I don't think the other cards really matter. I mean, I guess if they put 4 lands onto the battlefield, then the Jerboa becomes a problem, but I feel like if they put 4 lands onto the battlefield, it's because they're seeing a bunch of cards, and then the Cobra doesn't feel very good either. And assuming that Garrick survives, then we can plus on Questing Beast next turn, which is probably pretty strong. So let's just go ahead and fight down. Awkward to do it post-combat. I mean, I guess I could have forced an extra point through. But let's fight down the Cobra. The other thing that this does, I mean, amusingly, the Cobra is their biggest creature at 2/1. All these other things have 1 power. It's possible I was supposed to fight the Jerboa. Alright, so the opponent's going to make a food. And then eat a food. That all makes sense. Dare I say it? Are we, like, even in this game? Obviously, the opponent's top decks must be just, like, atomic bombs.
Okay, but imagine top decking a Massacre Worm.
That is true. We do have the 1 Massacre Worm in our deck, and we have been obviously on a roll drawing mythics.
We would kill so many things.
I don't love this attack. And the opponent seems to have figured out that Elder Gargaroth has reach. Alright, if they just pass through this turn, that does not make me particularly afraid of the 1 card in their hand. I think I vote for playing the quarterback and plussing it with Garrick, and I think we'll just use Liliana to clear the last card in their hand before we get started. I mean, the Questing Beast is just flat unblockable, so it's possible that I'm not even supposed to bother. Like, plussing their last card was Karuga the Macrosage. We're playing against another Gentleman of Refinement. Like, plussing on Questing Beast is just an extra 3 to the face. But if I plus on Gargaroth or potentially also like a Beast token or something, like this already tramples. Maybe I'm just supposed to force through as much damage as I can here. Obviously, they're gaining 6 life a turn off the 2 geese. So that makes it a little bit challenging to try to close the door as quickly as possible. But we'll follow up with Ooze on chump blocking duty, or maybe even, like, if I'm just playing, like, I could make a 3/3.
I kind of like making 3/3.
Just keep our planeswalkers alive, because it really limits their ability to fight back. And actually, it's like close to whether or not they can, if they top deck Genesis Ultimatum, could they cast it? Like, these are all forests. They can only make blue, red, so they can't make the triple and have the 2 red left over. Do you want to throw away a Florahedron, opponent? The answer appears to be yes.
You save 1 damage.
This is going to save one, yeah, it's true, 1 damage, because everything tramples. Everything tramples. Garrett grants trample. I admit when I clicked the record button, I wasn't expecting to be pretty far ahead in game 1, but all right, opponent.
You were very pessimistic.
Well, I kind of imagined that the game was going to go something like this, and then the opponent would just like play a Genesis Ultimatum and put a Felidar Retreat or something, and just put 1,000 power on the battlefield. But as it stands right now, we kind of have him in the lock. Liliana on 6 is ready to just eat your card, so opponent has to do something.
When does Lily ultimate? 7?
Ultimate's on 7, and it doesn't do anything if your graveyard is empty. I just learned something about Arena, which is that if you have no sideboard, it will just put you into the waiting screen and not give you the opportunity to, like, I don't know, wait to press. You know, like, maybe you had to go to the bathroom or get a drink, and in that case, you might want to just sit on the sideboard screen before you submitted. But, I mean, it is true that sideboarding is completely deterministic when you have 60 cards in your deck and 0 cards outside of it.
It's really funny.
So I guess kudos for realizing that it would have been pointless to sit on the skyboarding screen, but still weird. All right, here we go, game 2.
I'm honestly surprised that that's like coded into Arena. Like, it seems like an extra thing that they would have had to think of.
All right, I have both colors of mana. It did not appear from the last game. You might have realized that the opponent was playing Karuga. I guess that's different from Umori, right? Umori would say that they're mono creatures, though I don't think...
They're not companioning Karuga.
They're not companioning Karuga because they've played Lotus Cobra and Tangled Florahedron.
Yeah.
Like, none of those cards would work with the restriction. All right, I can at least interact with the first...
I like this hand.
With the first Cobra. I wonder if the opponent had... Oh, perfect. Had Omnath in their deck and just didn't draw it, or if that's just not the plan. There's the Cobra. We are going to heartlessly kill that thing. Also, Poly K is going to do a number on them because they've played a bunch of small creatures. And so if we can put the Unchained Zombie Hydra down, we could just start munching on their battlefield. We have 2 turns to draw land. They do nothing. Oh, we draw Skullboy. I'd like to see that. I admit I'm checking to see if I can tell whether that was... Can you tell whether Skull Prophet is male presenting or female presenting?
No.
Field of Ruin activate?
They're skull presenting.
Field
of Ruin?
Well, I mean, that resolves. So I have a forest and a swamp in play, and I have 2 double green cards in hand, so this is not a question. We're going to go grab a forest. They used it to fix for red, and then they're going to blow up my Skull Prophet. That is actually potentially quite annoying. I drew a Territorial Scythe Cat, of course. I guess there's no reason to play it when I can't trigger it, so let's just see what's up over here. It's an escape, a Parcel Beast, and 2 lands. I'll take the escape. So they can play a Parcel Beast as a naked 2/4, or they can wait to try to mutate it. Does that accomplish anything? Parcel Beast just turns the creature into a Coiled Oracle, right? So, no, they would just rather have it on the battlefield. And I cannot immediately remove it. I can play some Riffraff, though. I don't see the point of putting a 3/1 that can't block on the battlefield against a 2/4, so let's just put the Scythe Cat out there. and hope that we can grow it. But obviously, we're going to get back on the mythic train as soon as we can put another.
What is I look away for a second and there's a parcel beast on the other side.
That is correct. Parcel Beast does combo with Lotus Cobra, quadruple question mark.
I mean, I'm not judging. I'm playing a janky mutate deck in standard right now, but I'm judging a little.
Did
I'm
we
not
find
playing Parcel Beast?
do we find a deck that makes less sense than ours? All right, I guess we should respect the unknown card. Get in there. Oh, I guess I could have attacked with the Scythe Cat. It just did not occur to me. I'm sorry. It did not occur to me that the Parcel Beast would be tapped. I had just kind of written off, well, this thing doesn't have attacks. So apologies. You can let me know about that one in chat. I know it's pretty bad. I do have a Skull Prophet in the graveyard, so if we can find a land to put the Liliana onto the battlefield, we can just go ahead and immediately fire off a -1/-1 on the Cobra. But instead we draw a Skull Boy. On the other hand, I would trade any of these cards for that Cobra, so let's just get in there. I'm going to block the thing that comes back, or the thing that could grow if I ever drew a land. Yeah. You know, I don't hate the opponent's line of maybe Adam's not going to draw another land for the rest of the game, but this also makes sense. And we'll put Skull Prophet onto the battlefield. In case you're wondering about potentially milling Self with Skull Prophet, the reasons to do that in the deck are 2 Pelucranos and the Skyclave Shade, and we actually have already seen all 3, so there's no value in that. Obviously, we're trying to overcome quite the mana disadvantage right now. I think we just attack with our doofuses and play a 6/6 and see how that goes. Kind of giving away that I'm intending to use the Skull Prophet, huh? Maybe the sequencing was not the most intelligent, but oh well, we have a Pelucranos in play. Pelucranos fights for 3. I wonder if the opponent is still interested in activating Parcel Beast now. I mean, the thing is that Garruk next turn plussing on Pelucranos is going to put a bunch of trample damage on the battlefield. Also, is Oran Reef Ooze with Pelucranos a combo? Canrith? What is happening? All right, opponent has a Canrith, and I should know the answer to this, but it's 2 and a white to gain 5 life. So opponent can gain 10 right now off of the Canrith. It's 1 and a green to put a counter on something, but they only have the Fabled Passage as a potential way to create green mana. So if Pelucranos fights Kenrith, it will work at cost, but it will work. I mean, what are my other options here? I could play Garruk. It doesn't seem great, and then essentially let the opponent gain 20, potentially more than 20. I could play Ooze plus Steward. That doesn't do anything either. I think we just fight Kenny down. So they have some options here. They can either put a counter on Kenrith in order to cause this to be a trade, or they could just gain 10 life. Both of which make sense. They went for green, so I assume that they're going to play the green ability. That they do. Okay. Yep. These two trade off. My only attack is in the air for 1. And Liliana Stewart looking great as the post-combat play.
What does Liliana Stewart do?
Liliana Stewart is a very slow Raven's Crime. So I can sacrifice Liliana Stewart to make the opponent discard a card. Scoot Swarm.
Oh.
So they did not play a land from hand. So now they're going to go digging for a land with Parcel Beast, and they hit a Fabled Passage, so we're going to have 4 Scoot Swarms in play. It's going to make it unlikely for me to win by attacking on the ground, unless I can find a Questing Beast pronto. Like, Liliana can start pinging these things down one at Roiling Regrowth. So this is a Harrow. They're going to sacrifice a land and put 2 more into the battlefield. So that will trigger Scoot Swarm 2 more times. So we're at 1, 2, 4, 8, crack the Fabled Passage, 16 Scoot Swarms. I don't think Questing Beast is going to save me now. We need some sort of, like, all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn, and that's in our deck. And that's called Massacre Worm. But I don't think we're going to have time to draw land, and then Massacre Worm. So, what combination of cards could possibly get me out of this? I guess if I draw land and play Gargaroth, and then the opponent attacks for non-lethal, then I could...
What?
Do you see that? They played Karuga, and all of these Scoot Swarms have mana cost 2 and a green, and so they drew 12 cards off of that. That was pretty cool. I will give it to my opponent that was nice. Except I don't have nice available, so I can't do that. With 23 Scoot Swarms in play, I don't think I can accomplish the line that it was saying, where I would go land, Gargaroth, block, draw a card, and then make the next land drop plus the Massacre Worm. Obviously, if I could accomplish that, that would be pretty great. Presumably, the opponent's found a Canyon Gerbo at this point, though. So, I think we're going to game 3 real soon.
That was incredible.
That was a turn from our opponent. They did not seem to have very much going on. And then suddenly, they had a lot going on. The problem is that this doesn't work because the Skyclave Shade can't block, right? So it's 23, 24, 25, 26 attackers, and I can actually only block 3 of them.
You could gain 3 life.
I could gain 3 life, but then I can't draw simultaneously a Massacre Worm and a Black Source.
True.
So I believe I am just deterministically dead. Having said that, I think it's only fair to have my opponent make somewhere between 40 and 100 Scoot Swarms this turn. That's obviously what they came here for. The ultimate here is that maybe I'm doing this because, like, I have a kill 25 of my opponent's creatures stip or something, and I just wanted to kill their stupid Scoot Swarm. I will draw a card, and we will go to game 3. What's holding me up? Honest question. Why am I not F8'd? Gargaroth did what Gargaroth could, but did not quite make it. All right, game 3.
That was incredible.
I'm assuming that if you're watching this after the fact, you probably sped through that, but that was something. And I'll probably not let my opponent go through it all in the future. We have an Extinction event, and we have a Polukranos. I'm going to keep... We also have an answer to their Lotus Cobra, which... I mean, the opponent's deck appears to be 4 Lotus Cobra and then other cards. So without Kenrith, then Extinction Event could accomplish something against the mob. No sign of the Cobra. Also note the... Oh, there. Okay, never mind. Why did I say that? I was like all excited to get to play Polukranos on curve. Also, I was going to say no sign of red mana, which made me feel a little bit more secure in just running out the ooze, but opponent was apparently ready with rolled up Cobra into rolled up removal spell. Alright, well, Poly K is going to come down next turn. With only 3 lands on the battlefield, they can't threaten to do anything wild with landfall. So the best result here, there's the Swarm. Best outcome for me there would have been a land, so that I can go Polukranos into Primal Might X0. With no sign of Kenrith, do I just play Polukranos and pass with the intention of Extinction Event on odd the turn after? They only have 4 lands in play. Like, they're going to have to do something like Harrow, whatever that card is called, in order to put enough lands into play that the Scoot Swarm starts copying, because it doesn't actually copy the Scoot Swarm until you've reached 6 lands. Before then, it's only making insects. So there's the Roiling Regrowth. That still only gets them to 5, but they do have a land drop after that. So they're going to go land out of their deck, make 2 insects, create 2 mana from the Lotus Cobra, and then Regrowth again, question mark? Obviously the land drop would be best. They're going to mutate the Parcel Beast and then activate it. And did they brick? It appears that they have bricked. Well, okay, I admit that that should have been on my radar, but wasn't. Obviously, if you're playing Scoot Swarm and mutate creatures in the same deck, you're probably trying to mutate onto the Scoot Swarm. I don't feel a need to Extinction Event away their tokens. And at this point, they have so much mana that the Lotus Cobra doesn't really upset me either. So maybe what we'll do is just Primal Might to kill the Parcel Beast. And this way I can develop my board with the Skull Prophet. Obviously, playing an even into my own Extinction Event feels pretty bad. But I'm hoping that what will wind up happening here is that we will get to fire off our Extinction Event on odd to kill a bunch of Scoot Swarms, instead of having to worry about actually killing a bunch of Parcel Beasts. Let's see if they feel like taking some counters off of Polukranos here. The other option is that you just clear their board one thing at a time. I'll add the Skull Prophet and pass. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be afraid of, so I guess we'll find out. Fiend Artisan. So that threatens to turn the insect tokens back into other Scoot Swarms. I think the card I was most afraid of that turn was Kenrith, because Kenrith threatens to make Heartless Act irrelevant. Now, them having a Lotus Cobra Parcel Beast does not really bother me, so I think that the plan is just to Heartless Act over here, and hopefully draw land so that we can put a 3/2 Scythe Cat on the battlefield. Another Skull Prophet. Alright. So let's start by clearing a path for the Polukranos. And then I guess I'm going to have the Skull Prophet beget another Skull Prophet. And part of my logic there is that we might have the Pelucranos fight something at some point, and Pelucranos does need some fuel in the graveyard, so let's... I'm still not particularly interested in putting the Scythe Cat out at the moment, though I guess these Skull Prophets don't attack very well either. Maybe it's better to have an odd on the battlefield. I would like Pelucranos to die before I played Extinction Event if there was at all possible. And I guess having 6 mana would let me potentially double activate. Though, I mean, a 3/3 Pelucranos can't take down a 2/4 no matter what I do. I can fight it as many times as I want. I don't know, this feels close to me. The problem is that, like, playing for mana efficiency next turn is if, like, what if I play a land, then I could play Skull Prophet plus Extinction Event. That doesn't accomplish anything because Extinction Event would wipe my board anyway. So opponent has a Lotus Cobra Parcel Beast and a 1/1 Insect token and are aggressively firing off the Parcel Beast to draw cards, understandably. They do nothing. They draw a land. Alright, so let's pump up the Scythe Cat, have Pelucranos fight down the 1/1 and get in. I don't get the sense, to be honest, that my opponent's deck plays particularly at instant speed, but maybe I'm wrong. So we have the panic button in our hand of the Extinction Event. Did I mess up in the sense that if I had had Profit beget... Whoa, there's kind of... Beget Profit, would that have been... good enough to... attack for lethal this turn had the Parcel Beast been tapped, but I think the answer is that it was only 11.
Is Parcel Beast a 4?
Parcel Beast is a 4. So right now these 3 are even, and Kenrith and Scythe Cat are odds.
You might have to get rid of that Kenrith, though.
I don't really want my opponent gaining 10 life a turn, though at the moment they can only gain 5 life a turn, but that's still a lot of life. And if the Parcel Beast hits lands, then obviously it can make... further white mana. I agree that it looks like we have to Extinction Event on even. Sorry, on odd. On odd, I'm sorry. The thing that actually kills a Kenrith. They can't have Mystical Dispute for this. Or can they? Does Parcel Beast just put it on the battlefield? Yes. So I guess they could potentially Parcel Beast into a land, Lotus Cobra to make an extra mana, and then Mystically Dispute it. I'm going to admit that that was not on my radar as a potential problem when I elected...
no, but it costs mana.
Yeah, it cost 1 mana, but they would get 2 back. Anyway, I better click on this odd button or I'm in trouble. So now the question I have is whether or not I should attack with the Skull Prophet or have it just beget another Skull Prophet. And my instinct is to have it beget another one. Like, alright, I attack with both this turn because they have nothing else going on. I get them to 4. Then they play a blocker. What do I do? Or they just don't tap the Parcel Beast. What do I do? This gives me some hope of, like, potentially drawing one more Heartless Act and maybe just, like, getting over the line that way. Checking to see what kind of a top deck Liliana would be. Since she could be a removal spell. I have no creatures in my graveyard, so she is not. We have drawn as many Skull Prophets as we could potentially draw.
How many cards are in our graveyard?
Our graveyard, we have 5. But the Skull Prophets can mill, so that's not a big deal. Like, we can certainly recur this Pelucranos if it came to it. Getting the Pelucranos dead is kind of awkward, though. I mean, it's possible that I should just fight down the Florahedron and then attack, but, like, I don't know if I want to spend my whole turn fighting twice.
Or just attack.
I mean, I could just send the Pelucranos. I don't know if I want to send the Skull Prophets. Like, I have an awkward amount of mana. Like if I fight, that uses up a black, and then I can't play like either card in my hand, which feels pretty bad. Let's just attack like this. See what they do. If they just decide to chunk it with the Parcel Beast, we can mill ourselves 3 and then replay the Pelucranos. The question is, can I do that and fight down the Florahedron? And I think the answer is no. But that's okay. I mean, if I just fight the Parcel Beast, Pelucranos just dies. Like, that doesn't accomplish anything.
It dying is kind of accomplishing something.
Alright, I will mill 2 cards. I hit another Pelucranos. Okay. I guess we're supposed to go out of our way to leave creatures in our graveyard, but I can't keep them all. For Liliana, for Scavenging Ooze, etc. So, alright, second Pelucranos gets to stay there. Now, Roiling Regrowth. I was going to say, if they did have the Mystical Dispute and they were digging for it when we tried to Extinction Event the Kenrith, then it did kind of walk into that. Right? Roiling Regrowth happens. Now do they dispute? They do. Okay. And then they Parcel Beast again. I'm going to say that the last turn could have gone better for us. Dispute, Florahedron, Escape number 2, and a couple of lands. So they can like do a bunch of Fabled Passage stuff to get enough mana to escape again. Presumably the cards in their hand are not particularly exciting. They can escape right now without cracking either, which I guess makes sense if they're looking for the swarms, and they have found one, as well as a Karuga. They have 24 cards in their library.
And 8 minutes on clock.
This is true, though I don't know if they need to make quite as many Scoot Swarms as they did last game, and they can probably get a bunch of them out right now. My deck has 2 Extinction Events, and we still do have enough black mana to top deck a Massacre Worm, so I'm hoping to get like 2 turns to accomplish that. Like, this was the worry. Obviously, if my opponent had the opportunity to draw any kind of action, that they were going to explode. But I don't think I had a way to get all 7 of their life points. Like, I could have attacked a little bit more aggressively the last couple of turns, but I could have, I think, only forced through 2 Skull Prophets. One the turn where I elected not to attack, and then that last turn I could have had Pelucranos fight down the Florahedron. Maybe that would have been enough. Maybe I would have gotten there if I had taken that line. It sounds like maybe I could have gotten 3 Skull Prophet hits through. Well, if so, that's a little disappointing. I'm guessing that the opponent's on 1 of Kenrith, but if not, they're still going to make so many Scoot Swarms next turn, I don't think it's going to matter. So let's just see what's up in their hand. Oh, they have a Dispute face up. Awkward. Yeah, okay. And they still have enough mana then to crack Fabled Passage and activate Parcel Beast. So I guess our hope is that they time out. We would take that. But we're getting attacked by 8/1/1s, which against our board is surprisingly good. Mono X1s. We know they have 2 lands hiding out up here. I guess kind of 3. Karuga will not deck them yet, but they want to sequence that in early. There's the Jerboa. Jerboa plus 1 land and they attack for 16, 17, 18, 21. So I could just throw away 1 thing and survive. Jerboa plus 2 lands, so should be GG. So let's see. There's Roiling Regrowth. Okay, that's enough. I do not actually think that my opponent's going to time out or deck themselves. I think I could have won that game.
Really?
Yeah, I think I could have won that game.
Well, we can go back and watch.
Yeah, this is the nice thing about recording, huh? All right. We won't 7-0 or 6-0 rather. It's 5-1. Welcome back for match 2. I will play first, and I guess I'll keep this. Sure. So we'll go tap land into Scythecat, leading on a scry. Do I want land 5? It lets me cast Clackbridge Troll, but I feel like I kind of want more action, and I'm gonna roll the dice that I'll draw the 5th land. I don't think that we need... Yeah, there you go. We need to be optimizing for land number 5 at that point in our sequencing. Opponent led on Spikefield Hazard into Riverglide Pathway. So we're playing some kind of like, is it spells deck? Ooh. So let's just play an X1 into known Spikefield Hazard deck. What could go wrong? See if a Pelucranos with a Demonic Embrace on it gets us somewhere. I'm guessing this Scytheclad is not long for this world, but little do they know that the big things are coming. I will not block. So Channeler needs 4 instants or sorceries to pump up to a 4/4. They do nothing with that turn. Interesting. Alright, let's see if they change their mind about shocking my Scythecat. They do not. Alright, well I'm playing Poly K. Bang. And it resolves. Now they can kill this one with installments if they want to. Or they can be like, alright, I guess shock is not going to work against this Hydra zombie. And go after the 3/2 instead. Sure. I don't know if playing Clackbridge Troll really accomplishes much. It's a weird combo with Clackbridge Troll and Extinction Event. I could give them a bunch of goats and then like wipe them away. Make it so that they can't actually pay. If that was the plan, was I supposed to Demonic Embrace last turn? Because I'm just going to have the Pelucranos get swept up. Stormcaller, but nothing in the graveyard to Stormcall back.
Graveyard.
Oh, it's their next spell that gets doubled. I'm sorry. That's right. So they're going to double Crash Through, draw 2 cards. And that gives the Channeler Trample, which doesn't appear particularly relevant. I mean, another pathway, and they pass. Primal Might off the top. Well, that's interesting. So we can clear the road for the Scythecat, though I would be a little surprised if they elected to double block. I also think that, I mean, they could play something like Into the Royal, but I want to take the opportunity to just 9 them here.
Wait, does that thing make mana? The Channeler?
No. It would let them play a card off the top of their deck, potentially.
Okay. So they can't enter the rope this turn?
No. The question is, how do I feel about Demonic Embrace getting... Because, like, they typically can't deal with a 9/9 with the cards that I would expect them to be playing, but they could potentially bounce something. So let's just go ahead and Primal Might X is 1 and have Scythecat fight down... I think the 1/3. That one is the opportunity to grow, and it's the thing with an ability, so they might tap it on the way out. Shocking the Scythecat would not accomplish anything since it's getting +1/+1. Alright, the fight just happens. And then I think we're going to let Poly K jump to the skies here. And we'll hover over the attack all button. So Pelucranos is individually lethal. If they just take this, then the Scythe Cat would become lethal. They would go to 4. And then I could potentially Extinction Event on even to clear the path. They'd elect to block, which is questionable since the Scythe Cat has Trample. I see. And then they're going to finish it with Hazard. Okay, that makes sense. So now they need some way to answer Pelucranos. Clackbridge Troll does have haste, but obviously they can forestall it for a turn or two by giving me a couple of cards. If their goal is just to play a blocker, Pelucranos will happily fight his way through that. What you got? They play Stormcaller. If they have like a 4 damage spell, yeah. So this is going to reduce Pelucranos to a 1/1. That will play. Oh, it actually reduced it to a 0/0. That's amusing because it only had 6 counters on it. So it took all 6 counters off. However, the +3/+1 of the Demonic Embrace kept it alive. Alright, well, on the theory that the opponent is going to have a hard time dealing with a creature that has 8 power and toughness, let's just go ahead and put this on the battlefield. Let them give me a couple of cards. Giving me a swamp here would be pretty sweet. Flaxy. Okay, we have a Flaxen Intruder. You never know what's going to come off the top. I mean, honestly...
But it's never Massacre Worm.
No, I know. Well, Massacre Worm is uncastable right now. So, opponent appears dead to Extinction Event on odd. Or sorry, on even. All their creatures are evens. Clackbridge Troll tramples. I mean, that game wasn't over? Quadruple question mark? They could have forestalled that for at least 2 more turns based on what knowledge they had. Alright, game 2. We have drawn both colors of mana, a Skull Prophet and a Questing Beast. I'm in for this. This card is going to get Spikefield Hazarded so hard. But, what am I supposed to do? The answer is definitely not sideboard. So I could take the slow game and play Freebooter first. My hand kinda doesn't do anything otherwise. Like I guess I can play 2 removal spells next turn. Do I really need to go for it? I mean, I guess I can play 2 removal spells independent of what I play right now. But if they do have a shock, and how could they not? I feel like just throwing away my Skull Prophet is pretty miserable. I don't know. I think I'm going to play the slow game. I mean, they don't have a way to pressure me without creatures in play. 2 shocks. 2 shocks, a Sprite Dragon, and a Crash Through. So the Blood Chief's, whatever it's called, Thirst, will clear the Sprite Dragon. And we'll have to use the Heartless Act on the Summoner at some point. I guess I'll take the shock. Though it doesn't really matter.
It's just gonna die.
Though they are actually gated on red mana this turn, so if they want to put the Sprite Dragon down, they can't also shock it. So, like, both of their spells are red, which is a bottleneck for them. Okay, there's land number 4. I like that. I don't have double green for my Questing Beast, which is a dislike. Yeah, Skull Prophet is not long for this world. I mean, I'm just setting up a good turn for my opponent, which is a little frustrating, but these are my cards. I'm very surprised that they elected to shock before playing the Sprite Dragon. That was unexpected. I see, they wanted to play a Stormwing Entity instead. Okay, so the last 2 cards in their hand are Spell and Sprite Dragon. Draw swamp number 1,001. Okay, so what happens if I just play Pelucranos? They appear to play Sprite Dragon Crash Through and attack for 1, 2, 5, 6 in the air, and then I get to untap and start killing their creatures. I think that's okay. Let's do that. There's the dragon, so I would be very surprised if we didn't then see... Oh, opt into Crash Through. So I'm actually going to take 8 this turn. The draw off the opt. Shock this down to 4. And that turns on the channeler.
Yikes.
I think I probably have to block here. We're going to try to survive. Like, if I clear their 2 creatures, which my hand does, then they are down to just a Crash Through. And I feel like we should be able to clean that up at some point before the end of the game. So Thirst can only... I mean, it could hit both with Kicker, but that clears that which has power or CMC 2 or less.
And Heartless Act couldn't hit the Sprite Dragon
Because it had counters on it. So let's make sure we pick the Destroy mode and now go. We are 1 card short of a Pelucranos, which is kind of a frustrating place to be. Wow. Well, that worked out for you. 1 up, 1 down. Okay. I draw Extinction Event, which I think we just fire off as a 1-for-1 since that guarantees Pelucranos next turn. So let's just make sure we get this right. That's a 5, even though they spent 2 mana to cast it. So you can enter this black hole. They do nothing. Ooh. So which thing would I rather get countered if they are now holding a counter spell?
Probably the Questing
I think it's the quarterback. And actually I can play the quarterback. I mean, I would be surprised if my opponent had a Mystical Dispute, but I could play it through a Mystical Dispute. The Questing Beast is awkwardly not the harder one. Oh, Thundering Rebuke. Yeah, okay, fair. And they add a Stormwing on top of that. Yep, okay. This is not great, but it's fine. 2 to the bottom. I mean, they're going to have to string a whole bunch of spells together if they're going to try to beat this. Eating 2 creatures. Oh, it's 6. Never mind. That was the point of the Extinction Event. And that was actually not true. I couldn't play Pelucranos last turn. So, Questing Beast was a good top deck. Alright, I have a 12-12 go. Royal Eruption me. I go to 7. So if they have a shock, I'm dead. They have a Royal Eruption number 2. Alright, well, what can you do?
Game 3.
Game 3.
Do you sideboard differently on the play and draw?
I do not.
Interesting.
My deck has no sideboard. Opponent apparently happy with their 60. So I'll take the play this time, and I can't keep there. Now you show up. I will mulligan. This hand is fine.
Send back a Swan, probably.
Yeah. I mean, all my bangers are 4 drops, and it's a little scary to rely on the Skull Prophet, but I think this is fine. I mean, I'm definitely leading on the Skull Prophet this time with my eyes open because I am hoping to grow this Scavenging Ooze as quickly as I can. I don't want it to get shocked. So if Prophet dies, then I'll just go Scooze Eat. They have no play this turn. Alright, I could double spell. I mean, I would be surprised if they were playing something like Cinderclasm, but I guess we'll see. Spikefield Hazard, I guess that kind of counts. So removal spell, removal spell, removal spell, opt, removal spell. Yeesh. This is going to be a tough one unless we draw like a Gargaroth. They don't have another land. So, and all their removal spells for the freebooter cost 2. So I think there's no point in taking a removal spell. Let's just take an opt. And I especially do not want to play the ooze into that. I'm just going to let them kill these 2 creatures, and then we're going to try to turn the ooze into a 4/4 if we can. Though I guess I would need another green mana to accomplish that. But ideally, I don't want to pass the turn back and have them play one of these sorceries to kill the ooze if it's possible to avoid. And I would not be surprised here if they decided the land drop is more important than killing my knuckleheads. And they might elect to just opt instead. Oh, now where they could draw a passageway. Yep. And they have the Spikefield Hazard. Draw Waker of the Dead, which would be good if I had a creature in my graveyard, but Spikefield Hazard exiles. Again, I don't see the point of running the ooze into one of these spells, so let's just go ahead and give the Kitesail Freebooter a chance to boot. Oh, I could have done it for 3. Oops. Strong plays with the strong deck over here. Opponent should be at 13. So presumably we're going to see opt into one of these removal spells. They all hit planeswalkers, so Liliana's not looking the best here. Just channel her again. So I could ooze eat one channeler, but that doesn't get me quite where I wish I were. So what becomes of that? Then they just untap and Royal Eruption it or something. Like, I don't think I can clear all the spells I need to clear to make the Liliana any good. We're going to have to find a chonker at some point. Despite everything I just said, I do want to limit their ability to dig at the moment. And these spells don't exile, so I like the fact that they need to invest. Ugh, that's the worst spell they could have had. I liked the fact that they would have needed to invest this turn in killing the ooze if they wanted to. But obviously having a 1-mana removal spell for it is very frustrating. Like, there's a world, I think, where they elect to opt and or kill the, like, opt by using a 2-mana spell on the Kitesail Freebooter. Like, you spend their mana as kill Freebooter plus opt, and if they do that, then I get to untap with the ooze, and at that point it would have been a 4/4. But, as it stands, we kind of have nothing going on. Liliana's Steward. Yeah, what does that do? I think the answer is nothing. I mean, it will eat a Royal Eruption. One way or the other.
You probably play it.
I don't see the point in just putting Liliana out there and then discarding it, and then they just untap and kill the Liliana, so... Passageway number 2 and a Sprite Dragon. Okay, the dragon can't grow to more than a 2/2. And I still do have 2 creatures in my graveyard, so we can clear that with the Liliana. But I draw a Bloodchief's Thirst instead. Liliana would come in on 4 and -1, and then immediately die to the Royal Eruption. I think we keep playing the long game here. Doesn't feel good when the opponent has the card manipulation and you don't. And also, all of the cards that you're hoping to draw cost 5 and you have 4 lands in the battlefield. They bottom off the opt. Do they have a permanent to play? They have a channeler. Yeah, that's pretty good. Honestly, ooze could be worse. That's going to eat their last Royal Eruption. Yeesh. Okay, they, again, still only have 1 spell, so at least I can use Liliana as a removal spell for the Sprite Dragon, though that doesn't really accomplish that much. I can't eat enough of their graveyard to turn off the channeler, but that could have been an option. Like, land feels like a bad draw, but what else am I supposed to hope for? I think we just have to draw a Gargaroth off the top. And
I think you kill their Sprite Guardian before it gets bigger.
yeah, I don't think that plussing to make them lose 2 life accomplishes anything. 3 life makes them accomplish. Like, great, then they just attack me for 6 and ignore the Liliana. I wonder if they're going to ignore it here. Oh, or they could just draw a shock. Okay. That is not true. Jungle Hall, that doesn't give me an extra turn or anything. Yeah, I think it's still Gargaroth is the card I would like to draw. Or on Reef Ooze, a 3/3. That is not it.
Do you chump block? I guess not. They're probably just gonna kill it.
Opponent has Royal Eruption in their deck, so they could just kill me, but, like, they could attack and hope to kill me, but, I mean, how do I get out of this game? I need to give myself as many draw steps as I can, so, probably I chump block. I would prefer for them to kill it than to give me the option. They're thinking. I mean, this might be... Oh, do they want to spend X's 3 on a Shatter Skull Smashing when they could potentially have another target next turn? I draw a Demonic Embrace.
You put it on their thing.
I'm allowed to. Okay, I will. Good game. Well, I think...
They're reading it like, what?
I think we've really seen the power of our deck and our ability to draw ourselves out of sticky situations. Blah. All right, 0-2. Well,
4-2.
let's go for 4-2.
We go.
Welcome back for match 3. We have the questionably good double Liliana Stewards draw.
we put those cards in our deck.
I didn't put these cards in our deck, but someone put these cards in our deck. I don't know if this is a keep, but I'd probably keep it in draft, so why not? Why aren't you like a Lovestruck Beast or something? I just don't get this deck. Alright, opponent's done nothing and might be like setting up to mill us or something. Playing a forest doesn't accomplish anything this turn, so let's just add tapped land and play Steward. And see if our opponent hovers on it. That's the goal, right? They do nothing. So we can go Ooze plus Steward 2, or we can play Scythe Cat. I guess with land coming, let's just play Scythe Cat.
I guess they didn't have anything, but beware this could be rogues, flash, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you could just be suicide attacking.
This is true. Slendy Vision. They will look at the top 6 and pick an instant or sorcery, and they find an extinction event. Oh man, I have 2 odds on the battlefield. Not my Scythe Cat.
Oh, they don't. Wow, they just dissed your cards real hard.
They really did. Alright, let's give it +1/+1. So if they're just going to play the extinction event, then our options are cash in the Steward. I think we should play Garrick this turn since it's impervious to the extinction event. We're going to plus.
But why didn't they play the extinction event?
They must have
up a counter or something.
Either a counter spell or a creature with flash. I agree. I don't see the point of attacking with a 1/2. Let's just get a card out of their hand. But okay, so it's
Like, you could play the Ooze and diversify your...
my parody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Do I attack? So they could have something like a Searing Thought Thief. A Soaring Thought Thief. It's a 1/3, so it would be fine. I guess I want to see what's up.
Yeah, I would attack.
Alright, they take it. Alright, I'll add Ooze because Ooze will become a 3/3 with the Liliana Steward in my graveyard, though eating my graveyard is kind of awkward. This plays around anti-cognition. Wow, we got neutralized.
Yeah, I think you'd rather that the ooze get countered there than the Garrick. So
Yeah.
that's why.
All right, I'll play Steward too. If they, I feel like it's a good sequence for me if they tap out to Extinction Event and then I untap and land a Planeswalker. I mean,
I agree.
I couldn't avoid them clearing that. Like, without the extra land, I didn't know that I was going to have the ability to play them both next turn, and Garrick makes a creature anyway, so we'll have something to demonically embrace if we'd like to. They do nothing. I drew a Clackbridge Troll. Oh, why?
Play it. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, it has haste. There's no reason not to just... And it's not like I'm going to be able to play around like an anti-cognition or whatever's going on in the opponent's deck, so... Alright, here. Clackbridge Troll.
Wow, resolved.
Yeah, they might just want the 3/1/1s. I'm not... Well, actually, how does Garrick work? Then if an opponent controls more creatures than you, so, I mean, at 2 I can't do it anyway. So I guess we just plus on our pig. We'll go to attacks. They'll sack a goat. And I'll attack for 6 trample. Ooh, we drew a crystalline
we haven't drawn
giant.
that yet. That was the card I was most excited about in the deck.
Alright, Possum Socks, what you got? Shark Typhoon for 3. So that will clear the Garrick, that's fine.
I really don't want our Mecha Godzilla to get countered.
Yeah, well, we don't have that much control over that. Wow, Zagoth Triumph. So is our opponent awkward draw Sultai? Or are they just playing a couple of tap lands? So I could clear one goat with a Primal Might. That doesn't appear to accomplish that much. They can always sack the shark. It's not like if I clear all their untapped blockers, I get to attack. So probably we're just going to... I mean, the other option is to play Demonic Embrace to get the pig in the air to get it through. I don't think I care about doing that either. I think we should just attack and then play the Crystalline Giant post-combat.
Yeah.
Little Blood Chief's Thirst. See, that's where it starts to get interesting. Like, if I could whittle away their board, then the Clackbridge Troll might just connect. But having said that...
Kill the shark.
Yeah, and I still might. Let's just see if the Giant resolves first. I mean, playing post-combat Crystalline Giant is a little awkward. I will grant you that. But our open mana could also confuse our opponent, since I bet they have about as much idea what's going on as we do. So I could also play Flaxy here, but I feel like the way this game is shaping up, they're probably going to have some sort of further mass removal, and when they do, making 3 2/2s down the line might actually be relevant in this game, so I'm going to hold it. Do I feel like firing off a removal spell right now? I think I'm going to decline. Salundi Vision again. So this is like a heartless act. Well, I'm guessing they're going to go after my Clackbridge Troll, but it would be pretty funny if they killed my Crystalline Giant before it got any counters. Honestly, if that's the bait.
I did not see that coming.
No, I kind of did. That indicates that they have another Extinction Event, since that will clear the 2 odds. Okay, that's frustrating but fine.
Brutal.
No,
No counters that the thing can get protected from that.
no. It can get like hexproof or something. It doesn't matter. Liliana Waker. We have the Ooze and the Steward in our graveyard, but that is not enough to clear the shark. I can't play Liliana and also Blood Chief's Thirst, the 3/3.
I kind of like Liliana Plus, though.
I don't hate Liliana Plus.
I mean, they can't then kill it, right?
Not on board. And even if they have... This is going to take it to 5. So even if they had another... okay, it's just going to get negated.
So, yeah.
And for reasons I said previously, I'm not going to just play Flaxy.
What is Is she like a 1/1?
She's a 1/2 that doesn't really do anything.
Ooh.
All right, here comes the next banger. Can you answer Pelucranos? Clack Bridge Control gained me 3 life for each of those sacrifices, so I'm actually at pretty healthy life total here.
Fire off the removal spell of the shark if you want.
I don't know that I want to.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm in a position where I have to do that, and Pelucranos can kill the shark just outright if it wants to, like without investing a card. Let's see if they feel like attacking. I do like that I have a 1-mana green removal spell and a 1-mana black removal spell. Alright, let's start with Thirst, because if that gets countered and then they don't have enough else going on, then Primal Might X's 1 would actually be lethal. So then I guess the question is, do I want to go for that? Do I want to go for the Demonic Embrace? I guess I don't hate the Primal Might here. Let's see if we just won. And I like that I can do this in such a way that I keep up the fight. I don't really know under what circumstances I would need to fight. Like, I guess if they try to shark attack me. Oh, wow. That was good. Keeping track, we are 3-0 in game 1s. Okay, game 2. 2 more tap lands, but that gives us the ability to cast at least a removal spell, though I don't think that this card is particularly good against your opponent. We do have some chonkers at the top of our hand. This is one of those, like, well, what am I hoping for? I think we should just keep 3 lands and some spells. They lead on Seagate Restoration. No Bolt. Ooh. Given that I have no 3 in my hand, I don't mind just running out of Skull Prophet here. That could get me right into a Garruk or a Liliana. I wonder which one I'm supposed to go for. Wow, Frantic Inventory. Alright, that was the especially bad one. Opponent just thought twice, though I guess they can't flash it back, so they kind of thought once. I mean, attacking the opponent's hand feels pretty good. Putting an extra 3/3 on the battlefield feels not great, since it's also going to be an even. So I'd be like just playing into my opponent's Extinction event. Maybe we just Liliana and start going after their hand.
Whatever you play here is probably going to get neutralized.
This is true, and I think long-term having, though I guess long-term having the Liliana in play might be better. I don't know, it's unclear. Both of these have like so little impact on the next couple of turns of this game. I guess if the play pattern is I play Garruk, it resolves, I make a beast, and then my opponent plays Extinction event, then I still have Garruk, so there's that. Whereas like if I play Liliana, it gets countered, they untap and Heartless Act the Skull Prophet, I play a tapped land, then where am I? Heartless Act on Skull Prophet does not, to me, indicate that they have the Extinction event, so there's that. They add a pathway, and it comes back to me. Alright, drawing a 3-drop there was kind of nice. Let's go ahead and suss out their next removal spell. I assume my opponent doesn't want to take 6. Yeah, that's fine. It would be amazing if I had some, like, you know, Vastwood Fortification or something. Could put a counter on things. So let's just go ahead and play the Ooze and prepare for hopefully curving into a Clackbridge Troll, honestly. Oh, I didn't even think about how... I was like, well, the Ooze should be insulated from Heartless Act, but that's not true. It doesn't enter the battlefield with a counter on it for some reason. I guess specifically so that it can get hit by a Heartless Act. Is this something that the Future League thought about? The interaction between... Heartless Act and Oran Reef Ooze. Alright, Liliana resolves. I like that. That feels good. Let's both discard, and I think I'm going to just pitch the Primal Might. I mean, the Blood Chief's Thirst is not doing much on this board, but my opponent could have something like an Ashiok, and that would make it live. Okay. They play a Shark Typhoon. I'll discard Primal Might. So if I want to keep Garrick, we have to plus him, but I think it's just like whatever, man. I'll make a 3/3. They can clear Garrick, and then we'll take it from there. I only have 2 creatures in graveyard, so Liliana cannot kill the 3/3. Liliana is honestly the more frustrating of my planeswalkers, I assume, so I'm not surprised to see my opponent going after it. We don't 100% know what that's going to accomplish. Wow, Poly K. I'm on 3 cards in graveyard, so I'm not particularly close to running this Polukranos back.
I think you might want to kill the shark, though.
Yeah, I don't think that the opponent should get to untap with the shark. I agree with that. I think I want to kill it with the Blood Chief's Thirst, and my logic is that if they want to end step a shark, I should be able to answer it with the Heartless Act. So that accounts for both the Thirst and the Heartless Act being in my hand at the end of the turn. Frantic Inventory again, okay. So the question is, if I plus Liliana, what am I going to discard? I don't immediately know the answer to that.
Probably the troll.
Yeah, I think that's right. The troll, amusingly, is like my gateway to drawing more cards.
That's true.
So we're
It could be the Polukranos just as a long game thing.
yeah, Polukranos will eventually come back, run 3 cards in graveyard. 4 after I play the Blood Chief's Thirst.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. Let's
Did you plus the Lily? Oh, that just happened.
probably I should have. See what the opponent wants to discard. Obviously, I could have played... Oh, it's an extinction event. Okay, I'm actually pretty excited about that. They do nothing. We draw Ooze. Obviously, they have nothing in their graveyard. I don't know that I necessarily want to be eating creatures out of mine, because I ultimately am interested in escaping this Polukranos. The Polukranos is a 6. So if I play the Scavenging Ooze, then I guess I plus and discard Troll. Like, that doesn't feel great to
You
me.
just discard the Ooze.
I don't know that the Ooze is high enough impact on this board to matter. It's not like their graveyard does anything, I think. Let's just start with a plus here. Oh, we'll discard the Ooze. They discard a Hagra Mauling. I'm not just going to give the Garrick up this time. We'll plus him to 3. I plan to make a beast next turn. So Lily on 4, Garrick on 3, and the opponent's just off it.
Woo! We need victory music.
I'm speechless. All right, 1 and 2. And let's run it back for match number 4. Welcome to match number 4. Why did I just get paired against someone in bronze? This hand looks awesome. Let's draw a Gargaroth and just have the full, I don't know how this deck's 6-0'd experience of Steward into Skull Prophet into Ooze into Gargaroth or something.
Gargaroth is good.
Yeah, that's my point. We'll just smash this person somehow with this goofy combination of cards. Flaxy was not what the doctor ordered. I guess we're just playing Prophet, and I don't see a point in making my opponent discard one of 7 cards.
Attack.
So get in there 1, 2. See the truth.
Wow, I have not seen that card in a while.
But Dreadhorde Arcanist rotated. I'm shocked. Okay,
Wait,
so
is there a way in the new set to play a card onto your graveyard?
well, if this was cast from anywhere other than your hand, so you can't just copy it with the Seagate
No.
Stormcall or whatever. That doesn't. You're not casting it. I don't know. I really do not
Maybe
know.
We'll find out.
Yep. All right. So let's go Scythe Cat and play a land. And, I mean, at least I get to play around Spikefield Hazard, but obviously this is a miserable combination of lands to see when my goal is to play a bunch of X1s and X2s. I admit I was not expecting the Verge pathway, but Hushbringer has entered the battlefield, which is actually going to take the counter off of my ooze. That is something. I don't know exactly what, but that is something. Let's see if they feel like trading Hushbringer for Skull Prophet. They do not. So we can either Skull Prophet again or just play the ooze. So the ooze would let the Scythe Cat grow as it attacks. But it itself does not grow because of Hushbringer. I mean, I don't really see the opportunity to get the Hushbringer off the battlefield as it currently stands. So let's just go ahead and play ooze and pass.
I went into the kitchen to get a cookie and I come back and there's just a Hushbringer.
Yeah.
Anti-Omnath attack.
I think that's right. Obviously, they were expecting some combination of Omnaths and refuses. All right, glide pathway. If we're keeping track of when it is we're supposed to crack this Liliana Steward, I have no freaking...
Whoa.
Wow. Vadrock. So
That's amazing.
They get to cast the See the Truth off of that.
That is so cool.
And
I want to play their deck. What is Hushbringer's creature type?
Hushbringer should be a angel. It's a fairy. I guess angel is pretty small. Is it? This thing has flying, first strike, and then lifelink from down below. Woo! We just drew a demonic embrace. The only creature it makes sense to suit up is the Scythe Cat because Vadrock does have first strike. So let's do that. And wabam. Now I think we need to consider the question of whether we should go wider by playing either the Skull Prophet or the Flaxy. And I think it's the Skull Prophet, right? Like,
yeah.
Skull Prophet also opens the door to potentially playing land and then 3 bears, which is something. Opponent doesn't have double white for his sweeper. I wonder what they could have. Vadrock, they could have Storm's Wrath. That would be pretty good. First strike and lifelink is quite a combination. So I don't think that it's good enough for them to just like eat this because that would get them to 7 and then they would take 7 from the Scythe Cat. But if they add an extra blocker, it's possible that they might be able to get away with it. It's like trying to attack into a Baneslayer Angel, right? Alright, what do you got? Mutating Vadrock again doesn't accomplish anything. Oh wow, I forgot how Vadrock worked. That was wrong. I've actually played this card in Limited and had something similar to this happen. Vadrock does not like exile it. You're allowed to just continue casting it over and over again if you'd like. All right, we drew a tapped land. So let's try to figure out what happens. So the obvious doomsday scenario is that we attack all, and they have a way to clear the Scythe Cat, and then if that happens, they eat a Skull Prophet and go to 7, and then take 6 from the other cards. I guess I would put up with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Demonic Embrace gets to come back. And if they have a 4 damage spell, they should do it right now. So it must be something like Into the Royal. Blocking and then shocking it like doesn't accomplish anything. They do have Into the Royal. So now they eat a Skull Prophet and go to 1. And I think that our best play is just Scythe Cat, add a land. And then I guess we should ask whether we should also play Flaxy. And I think with them at 1, we probably should. I mean, we're playing into a Storm's Wrath, but it's not like making 3 2/2s would play around Storm's Wrath or anything. Fortunately, as it stands, Demonic Embrace out of the graveyard is not going to cut it in terms of getting something just straight up past the Vadrock. Thundering Rebuke, sure. Also, Demonic Embrace trades for my top deck, right? You have to
Yeah.
discard a card to flash it back.
Oh.
Vadrock into Vadrock. So they kind of have to clear another creature,
Well, they can.
and they can do that with the Thundering Rebuke,
Okay.
but they can't afford to see the truth. I wonder if they have...
Do it twice? Question mark.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they can actually into the Royal and Thundering Rebuke. They can't cast the same card twice, though. Or can they? Could they have?
I don't know.
No, they probably could have.
But no, but it's not the same. Like it's not. It can't be the same object when it comes back.
It's just target non-creature card. It just has this text twice, so...
Right. But I feel like when the second one resolved, the target would no longer be there.
Maybe.
Like it changes zones when it goes to the stack and then comes back to the graveyard, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I
Maybe
think
not.
I think
don't
both
know.
of the targets wind up on the stack before either of them start resolving. So I don't know. You might be right that if you had targeted the same thing twice, that the second one would fizzle.
Yeah.
But I
That's
think
what I'm
you're
wondering.
allowed to target the same thing
Oh,
twice.
for sure. I'm just
Which is probably
wondering
not a
if
good
the
idea.
second one would fizzle.
All right, so we can play Skull Prophet and then Demonic Embrace something. I guess there's no point in doing that on a turn that we're not attacking, though.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hold the Jungle Hollow in hand with the intention of pitching it to Demonic Embrace when we're ready. But, I mean, there's no point in losing 3 life in a card just to have it get answered by them mutating another Vadrock. The Demonic Embrace is a problem, because if we put it on Flaxy, they have to block her, and then they take 4 from the other 2 creatures. So, we are presenting a very, very tenuous lethal with our knuckleheads here. I don't know what I was expecting when I started this video, but I feel like I got it. Alright, Sprite Dragon.
I really like the opponent's deck. I think the #1 arena feature that I want, honestly, for real, is like a request deck button where if you're playing someone and you think their deck is really sweet, you can like send an emote that's like, would you mind sending me your deck list? And then they can click a thing, and then like at the end of the match, it would get like imported into your decks. You know, like
Yeah,
wouldn't that be sweet?
That would be sweet. I'm going to leave the quarterback on top of my deck. Does that change my Demonic Embrace math? Because I can't play it and Questing Beast next turn. So I think that means that we need to just fire it off.
Yeah, I think so too.
And might as well put it on the least exciting of my creatures. Seeing it hang up like this could mean so many different things. Cannot attack into your first strike. I mean, honestly, putting Questing Beast on top is like 75% of what I could have hoped for. But I don't think that, I mean, have you seen some of the cards in this deck? I don't think that I could bin it hoping to find a Bloodchief's Thirst or something. There's only 2 of those. Thundering Rebuke to clear that. Okay.
Maybe they'll attack with their 3/3.
Yeah, do they feel like they've turned the corner? And they're still at 1 life.
Yeah, but then they'd be at 4 life.
This is true. I mean, having it back on blocks is not... Wow, they just mutated a Lord Dracus? Okay, that's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad.
So they're going to pick up a spell and then cast 2 others. One of them will obviously be the See the Truth to draw 3. They're going to pick up the Thundering Rebuke. They're going to pick up the Thundering Rebuke, cast a Thundering Rebuke, and draw 3. Well, I'm not going to mill myself too.
Like, I'm just hoping that they'll get overconfident here, attack with their 3/3.
I could see them attacking with the 4/4.
Oh, right.
Wow, they attacked with both?
Ooh.
Thundering Rebuke is a sorcery.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. Is the quarterback going to steal this game? I think the quarterback is going to steal this game.
Questing piece for the win.
It's less exciting when you knew it was on top of your deck, but
I
think
was
the opponent
excited.
the opponent is probably scratching their head at that one. No. Hey. Oh, Heroic Intervention. I forgot that was in my deck. So if I draw a land, then that unlocks the freebooter and the ooze. Like, what am I expecting?
Ugh. Does not look like a key.
Can we win on 5?
Oh, this is already
You're not
a
paying any
6.
attention. This is already 6. Okay, I think we just bin the Heroic Intervention and try to draw land. Does not look good. You could talk me into mulling again.
I mean, it does not look good. There you go.
Alright, well, I still don't win Heroic Intervention,
No.
sorry.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll keep the ability to play Demonic Embrace over Garrick. Like, I don't know, this is close. Do I pin a swamp or a forest? Quadruple question mark. Let's keep a forest. The deck is pretty even in terms of double black versus double red. Double green. I said red because my opponent played a red land. Well, that Liliana Stewart was not long for this world. Opponent not having any of my nonsense. Hushbringer? Nothing. Tapped blue source. Well, I think we go for the ooze, since then next turn we can play Scythecat and level it up.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
You can cut that out.
Yeah, I will.
Wow. Wow.
Ooze.
4 Oran Reef ooze.
And that's the reason why ooze is a 1-of and all the other cards are 2-ofs in this list. Ooze has gotten taken down by Hushbringer, Heartless Act, Shock. Yikes, a cupboard. Whoa, 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 whoa. Scythecat first. So now the opponent mutates Vadrock and plays a Shock to clear my Scythecat. And I think we go to game 3. I'll start hovering over here. You're going to see the truth first. Well, that does open the door for a +2/+2 or +3/+3 Primal Might. No, we're not going to get to. Oof, exiled. It's pretty rude. Gargfather, that'll keep me playing. There's no point in fighting. There's no point in fighting even if I have all my mana available. Especially since if I draw a land, we're just going to play Gargaroth. Cubwarden on a Cubwarden.
Oh. So many
Yowzers.
cubs.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. I've been waiting all night for this.
We got
bet.
a reach counter.
Woo! That's
Alright,
the
well-
best one.
Well, now at least this could fight that down, though. Again, if they play Vadrock, then they're just going to Scorching Dragonfire it.
No.
This is obviously not a game of limited, and I'm not my opponent, because if I were, it would auto hexproof.
Every time. I thought I was just programmed to get hexproof first. Every time.
I don't like how they're hovering there. Lordrak is making...
I'm just gonna get back the Scorching Dragonfire.
Yep, and then they'll also make 4 more 1/1s.
And first the swarms, now the
Yeah.
cats.
I mean, we'll have to just draw land, Massacre Worm. and maybe we'll have a chance.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Okay.
all of my dreams.
Flaxy. Get in there.
I can't believe she would just kill a cat. Like,
I'll play a 2-1 into the face of your 7/1/1s. I mean, that's just going right under the cupboard, and Flaxy will pick off another one, but we're, I think, out of time. Lord Drakus again. Do they even have spells to get back? Yeah, they do. They have plenty. All right, I think we have now seen enough. They're going to get back a shock. I guess they didn't tap for that Lord Drakus very well. They should have used blues to pay the hybrid costs because they were going to get back 2 red burn spells. They would have been able to kill both my creatures, but I know that I can't beat 16/1/1s or whatever they're going to have. So let's just go to game 3, where we will keep Skull Prophet and hope to get to Gargaroth, because I think Gargaroth would be pretty good. Would at least force them to have 2 3-mana burn spells in the same turn, though they are obviously very good at recycling their cards. Speaking of recycling their cards, they've gone to 6. Yeah, where are my dice? Set up 5, 5, 5. Heartless Act on top. I mean, the thing is that Heartless Act would be so good, since their whole plan is to make one big thing.
I
But
would keep it.
maybe we just hold it. Rogrin Triumph. Alright, I'll play Skull Prophet. Chances that I get to untap with that thing, given that they're let on Triland. I mean, maybe they'll have to play a temple or something and I can manage. Nah, never mind. The quarterback. Hushbringer is fine. Pelucranos less so. Sure. See it. Primal might go. I guess I should have discarded Demonic Embrace. I wouldn't say that I'm playing very carefully at this point. Mutate a Lord Drakus. I mean, it gets back a shock. I don't know that I'm supposed to step in front of this. Yeah, they're just gonna rotate through the See the Truth, trying to find Badrock.
It's possible you should just kill their thing. Then they don't have anything to mutate onto for a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of want to get.
Your mana, so that.
Well, what am I going to use my mana on? Like, if I draw a land, I'm just going to play a Scythe Cat.
Right.
That doesn't.
Then you don't have the.
Yeah, but
Heartless Act up, so
they can mutate Vadrock and shock it. Like, I'm okay with that. I want to get the next card from them, basically. If they mutate Cub Warden, that would be pretty frustrating, but I'm willing to put up with that. I'm so far behind. Yep, 15. Draw Pelucranos.
Like this turn, I feel like you should maybe use the Heartless Act.
See the Truth number 2.
Like if you
Yeah.
draw a land, you're gonna want to Questing Beast or Pelucranos or something.
I can see that.
I don't know. We'll see what they do.
Alright. This kind of limits. I mean, this could get countered. I have no idea what's going to happen here. They could into the Royal It. Sajiri Shelter. Sure. Alright. Hello, beautiful. I have nothing else to do with my mana. So let's just play a 5-2 into their shock.
Kaboom.
I feel like Gargaroth would have been okay this game, like against this opponent in general, but we're obviously not going to get to cast it. This is how I thought every one of the games was going to go. I think Questing Beast is better than just playing a Bluegrass. I don't know if I know about that. Like, it didn't matter what I did. Like, Pelucranos would threaten to untap and fight, though if they, like, Thundering rebuked it on their turn, then the fight wouldn't work. It would become a 2-2, so. Second Hushbringer, right? This is a Hushbringer under there. I draw Scavenging Ooze.
That's not bad.
Scavenging Ooze has 2 pieces of fuel, so
But also it can just eat a target for one of their mutates.
that is true.
I mean, only one right now because you only have 2 green sources. But
Yeah, I mean, this runs into the problem that we had in match 1 with the Ooze, that, like, it's not possible to save it from any of their spells.
yeah.
They're threatening to attack for 3. If we imagine that they have a way to get back a shock, that would be 4-5. They mutate like a Vadrak or something, it would be 6, 7. I mean, I just don't really see much way out of this no matter what I do, so I guess we'll just play the Ooze. I wonder if they're counting creatures in graveyards. We untapped with it. At least we didn't just get like completely blown out on tempo by having them shock it immediately. Snappy. Wow, I always wanted to see Snapdax go on the stack. I kind of thought I would have to be the one to do it though. See the truth. I mean, does it matter what I do at this point? That's 3, 6, 7 coming through. And I draw a Territorial Scythe Cat. Alright, opponent, you got it. We are 1-3. If you're keeping track, I believe that's 4-0 in game 1s and 1-6 in post-party games. Interesting. On to match number 5. Welcome back for match number 5. Looks like we're playing against limited specialist Dustin Stern. Let's see how he feels about playing against me and my limited deck. On the play, I mean, what am I hoping for? I guess we'll just hope to draw lands to play Pelucranos. Dustin Mulligans. I assume that people are playing out their last few matches tonight. The season ends in the morning, trying to rank up. Oh man. Let us get that thing far away from here.
Eat it.
Oh, I plan to. And at this point, I mean, I guess the Jungle Hollow suggested something budget's going on, but it might not be totally clear that I'm not playing a real
we're playing
deck.
against a real deck.
Yeah,
This
well,
is the first real deck we played against.
well,
I mean, the Scoot Swarm thing was a thing.
it was something. And
now you play.
now, if the jig wasn't up earlier, the jig's up now. Territorial Scythe Cat, no 4th land, go.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, this is part of what I was curious about. Was like,
Oh,
if you played this
father.
deck with a poor match MMR, like I assume that I had coming into this, how many times would you come up against a deck like this?
Ooh, kill it.
I cannot.
Damn it.
Um, I mean, yeah, there's nothing I can do this turn.
Does this deck play enough lands?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
If you were wondering.
Because I feel like you don't draw a lot.
Yeah, well, it's playing 24 with no way to, and 4 Skull Profits, so it's probably close to enough, but I would play 1 or 2 more. We're trying to play 5 drops, 6 drops.
Oh, yes!
We're playing Song of Creation.
This is the deck I want to play.
The extra land drop from Song of Creation lets Dustin put
The full mill version.
Omnath mana in his mana pool, which he's now going to use to mill me.
You are gonna get milled out so hard.
There goes into the story. I lose a land. No. I was going to use that land to play Pelugranos. Actually, amusingly, if this Lotus Cobra didn't hit the battlefield, I could have potentially gone land, Bloodchief's Thirst kick to clear Omnath, and then Flaxy would clear the Song of Creation. So, obviously, that's the reason why Flaxy is in the deck.
Yes, Ruin Crab. This deck is so sweet.
Because I figured that if we came up against a real deck, it would look something like this.
I'm totally gonna play this crab deck.
And I believe my winning percentage against this deck should be
Yes.
something like 0. So
I'm so excited. Get flying. What do
I
you
got +1/+1. Tutelage. This is a pretty good top deck. Cards in library 28.
Ooh, Demonic Erase.
Great.
Can we put that on our intruder?
Yes, we can. The question is whether we'll have any cards left in our library when we untap. It is not clear to me that we will.
This is so sexy. I think we will. That's it for their turn, right?
That was it for their turn, so we have 12 cards left. So time for the old moral victory. I do not want to cast the Skyclave Shade. I want to do this and discard Pelucranos.
Ooh, what do we get?
We got Menace.
Nice. Send it.
Yeah, why not? I put it in my deck.
Now, which enchantment are you going to destroy?
No, it's a foregone conclusion that I'm going to get milled out.
I see.
So we're going to take our moral victory and take out the Song of
Wait,
Creation.
what happened? Oh, okay. I forgot that you had the sack.
Yeah, Flaxy is not...
Wait, couldn't you have played your removal spell there?
Oh, I could have cleared like the Cobra or something.
One
Yeah.
of the crabs?
Yeah, one of the crabs.
I don't know. You gotta try.
I mean, them just drawing 2 cards would kill me at this point, so I'm not.
That's true. I forgot.
So, like, I would have to kill them this turn.
About
Like,
the
they could have...
amazing synergy between Song of Creation and Teferi's Tutelage. What a sweet deck.
I only had 1 turn left, regardless. So, yeah, they could have 1 fewer crab, but... I don't think that was necessarily going to make the difference. Questing Beast. I mean, Massacre Worm is
Whatever you
gone.
put on
It's
top
just going to
of
get
it,
milled.
though.
Because it'll get milled in their draw step. Yeah, let's just clear Omnath. I mean, obviously none of my game actions matter.
But we have to keep playing to see what counters we got.
Hexproof.
Oh, we got Hexproof.
Bang. Took him to 10. So what do we hope they draw? Not a land. A spell that doesn't let them draw any cards.
Oh, that's a spell that does let them draw cards. They probably top the land.
Well, I don't think they're going to do
Well,
anything.
They would need to.
Well, as we know, our deck gets way better post-board, so.
Ooh, you should board up to more than 40 cards. Wait, 60 cards, whatever.
Yeah, I do feel like I'm playing a limited deck, but.
Whatever's relevant.
Well, how would you rate this matchup?
Bad?
Do you think that I could ever win it?
No.
So then I think that part of deciding how likely it was that this deck went 6-0, you have to figure out how likely it was that they dodged it. And remember, they were playing in Platinum, not in Gold 3. Alright, so we need Freebooter to snag Song, I guess, and then have Pelucranos somehow go unchecked and clear a bunch of Cobras. Like, I don't even know what I could possibly do. I'm surprised if Dustin is agonizing over his Keeper Mull here. He saw my card quality. Unless he's considering keeping like 7 lands. Well, we'll get to find out. What's going on over there? It is Into the Story, Song of Creation, and a Gilded Goose. Alright, well obviously I'm going to take the Song of Creation and leave him with a 7-drop. I don't know the extent to which I'll be able to interact, though I guess playing an 0-2 to block my 1-2 kind of counts. Yeah, let's kill it. Wabam. And if the plan is to play, I guess it's Pelucranos into Garrick, with the hope that Garrick can give trample and we can run over the crabs or whatever the opponent happens to draw. Tutelage, sure. So this is probably going to power up the end of the story before very long, but I'll have a couple of turns before that's online. Dustin won't be able to just curve into it as a 4-drop. Discards the pathway that we knew about, and I mill land. Heroic intervention. Okay, let's play Poly K and hit for 1. I need one of those little like baby mallets that makes a little noise when I hit with a Kitesail Freebooter. There's the first crab. I will get milled for 6. And now we have to make a decision as to whether or not we should land Garrick and trample over, or if we should Demonic Embrace. And I guess landing Garrick sounds better. Tutelage 2. I don't know that this is going to be quick enough now that End of the Story represents mill 12. Something. I'm still on 36 though. Yeah, so we'll Garrick this turn and plan to play the Demonic Embrace the turn after. And make sure that the Pelucranos tramples through the crab. Bang. Alright. Mill me out this turn. I mean, I don't think that spending 4 mana to draw 4 and mill me is going to get it done. This will mill me 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. That's a lot of triggers. I have 31 cards in my library. This is just a Traumatize. Play a land. I'll go to 12 left. Just the Garrick granting trample seems to be good enough here. We did see Dustin agonize over the keep, and then we took the only action card in his hand to start with. So that all kind of worked out.
Kill the crab.
Oh yeah, there's no way that it's getting out of this game alive.
Scoop to that? You were
Well,
already dead on
yeah, they were dead in so many different ways. Okay, let's go to game 3. We have lands and a Kitesail Freebooter. This extinction event looks heinous, though.
Should have decided to die.
If only. If only. But my, not progenitor, but whatever, the Dex progenitor didn't feel a need for a sideboard, so obviously we're the same. What am I going to do with the territorial scythe cat? Let's bottom this. I mean, Extinction Event will look fine if my plan is to, Gargaroth. If my plan is to discard cards to Liliana or something. So our choices are Freeboot and try to take Song of Creation, which Sturm will presumably be able to cast next turn, or just Blood Chief's Thirst the Goose and add a tapped land, and that would hopefully give me an extra turn before I have to play the Freebooter. I guess the truly miserable situation is that, like, we see 2 songs and then I didn't actually slow them down. So maybe we'll take the well-traveled line of Blood Chief's Thirsting the Goose, or whatever this saying is. And go. So then we'll go Profit into Gargaroth. I guess we'll see if the mana situation looks good. Like, if Dustin has to play an extra at Mountain. So Teamer energy on Teamer mana online, and now Cultivate presumably gets a plane, so Omnath can be played. We saw 0 interaction in the previous game. I think I probably am supposed to play Freebooter here. Getting the Gargaroth out sounds enticing, but I mean, with no other cards in play, how good would Song be? Like, we don't have a tutelage. There's not a lot of there's no crab in play, though. We could go like Song, land, crab, land, pass, discard, and then hope to top deck. Like, I think I'm just gonna play the Skull Prophet. I'll talk myself into Gargaroth next turn. Yep. Well, I can't say this is a surprise, and I also can't say that this Fabled Passage is a surprise. I started saying that. I was hoping to get the whole sentence out before the Fabled Passage hit the battlefield. So now Omnath mana would let Dustin immediately Song. That's what's happening. And then there's the crab. We still have 1 land drop left, and we'd be stunned if... Oh yeah, we saw the island face up from the Cultivate. You got it. And there's crab 2. Okay, so the good news is that this Extinction Event is going to be pretty strong. The bad news is that it's going to swallow up my... Skull Prophet, but what can you do? Oh, maybe it was supposed to be odd. No, that was incorrect. Somehow I thought the Ruined Crabs were 2s. No, that was definitely incorrect. I thought that was going to clear everything.
Turns out Freeboot are now looking a little iffy.
Yes.
But Gargaroth's still looking good.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, with a Demonic Embrace on it, it's something, but it has to hit 4 times, 3 times after the Embrace. Yeah, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if I had clicked the right button there. I mean, this card is just such an engine, right? Like, if...
Yeah.
As long
That's
as...
a lot of cards to draw when you're just going to discard your hand.
Yeah. We still have 2 land drops to make. I'm probably just milled out. I'm on 27, so each land is worth 9. This is 9, and then there's still 2 land drops to make, or 1 land drop to make. And so if Dustin has another Fabled Passage or Evolving Wilds, the game's over. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm not going to say I didn't mess that up, but I don't think it mattered. I really don't think it mattered.
Without being able to get rid of the song, like,
Yeah.
he was just going to find more crabs or tutelage or something, you know?
Yeah. I mean, obviously I was supposed to play the freebooter at some point that game, but I just don't see how I'm winning, regardless of what I do. Wow.
What?
Well, it got -6, -0. I wonder what
That card does not seem good.
what that was brought in against. But okay,
Dr. Carteroth, I guess.
I guess.
Wow.
All right, 1 and 4. Let's play out the last one. All right, making up for the fact that I played against a bronze opponent a minute ago, we are going to play against a platinum opponent in match number 6. Well, we're drawing like we might want to have a game. Let's see what our final opponent is up to. They mulled a 6. Do we put another tap land on top of our deck? I mean, at the moment we have nothing to do with it, but obviously we would like to play 4 and 5 drops eventually. I guess I'll keep it. Just a straight up mountain, huh? Does not give me that much information. Let's see what the freebooter shows me. Cultivate, Bone Crusher Giant, Terror of the Peaks, Scoot Swarm. So this is some kind of, it looks straight green-red from that hand, but I would expect that Scoot Swarm involves some kind of big man element. Wonder what other ways they have to put extra lands onto the battlefield. I can't.
Used to be green red. I've seen like dual landfall decks around.
Sure.
They're like more aggressively slanted.
Let's see if they just want to run out this. Okay, the Bone Crusher Giant. That makes sense. Well, I don't have any interest in blocking, so let's take to the sky. They can't play Terror this turn. They can play a Scoot Swarm that I'm not going to care about yet. Flame Spill? Wow. You got me. Jeez. I guess they just want to make sure they have some ways to kill an Omnath. Killing this Bone Crusher Giant when a Terror of the Peaks is coming seems pretty loose, so let's just pass. I mean, killing either of these things is not going to be great for me. Would not mind drawing an Extinction Event. Instead, I draw Heroic Intervention, and the game is over. God, this deck sucks.
Why is the game over?
Well, alright, killing the Scoot Swarm keeps it going. But, obviously, Terror into Cultivate when they have a Scoot Swarm in the battlefield would have been pretty bad. The Terror is another odd, so there's still hope to draw a Extinction Event to prolong things. Gargaroth would be okay. They should just play Terror, I assume. Yeah. Okay, well that forces me to draw something right now. I draw Questing Beast. That answers the Bone Crusher Giant, and then I'm going to take 6, so I guess they have to have a spell. But just a spell won't exactly do it because of the Heroic Intervention tech? 7 question marks? Well, I can't believe I might be about to blow someone out with this. Yeah, you got it.
Sort of, because this should just go
That's,
face, right?
yeah, I mean, they have 5 damage, so they're going to try to kill the Questing Beast. I'm in for that. Resolve. Questing Beast to 2.
Heroic Intervention gives what?
Hexproof and Indestructible. So now Say flame spill. I don't think so. Hexproof just completely cancels that order, so there's no like spillover damage or anything. Now, does that actually matter? It turns out the answer is no. Can you imagine if I had a fling? Like, I guess I could have put another demonic embrace on it, and that would have taken my opponent to 2, but that's not quick enough.
A fling and a mountain?
Yeah. Shh. Alright, I'm sideboarded. You ready? I can't keep this. I shouldn't keep this. Alright, I'll keep this, but what am I going to do with it? Get back here, Jungle Hollow. I would rather get rid of a forest. Alright, alright. So we can actually go Scythe Cat into land. That feels good. This Skull Prophet's just gonna get stomped really quick. Ooh, didn't even force out a Bone Crusher Giant from my opponent's hand. That feels bad. If only this weren't a mold of 5, maybe I could play this Blue Kratos on time.
Is it just me, or has Primal Might never been put on stack in these matches?
It was okay in one game to force through lethal when I had multiple mythics on the battlefield.
Okay. I mean, I've seen it be a really good card in some of the like mono green stompy decks. I just felt like it's done nothing here when our deck is like
A bunch of 3/1s. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the deck makes no sense. No part of any of this makes any sense. I'm still.
I like how I feel like your tone has become more and more bitter from the beginning. And
Well,
you face your 1-5 record.
Well,
Potential 1-5 record.
if you've been watching this and you believe that this deck actually 6-0'd, well, you know, honestly, this is gonna threaten lethal, right? Because here's 9.
Oh, and then next.
And then next turn is 12. So they have to do something to stop this.
Narrator.
They did something to stop this. The Oogie Man.
Okay.
And away everything goes.
I did not give you permission to say the Oogie Man on your video.
Now I draw the thing
intervention.
that would give all my permanents hexproof and indestructible, huh?
That doesn't protect from Ugin.
Oh, that's true.
Ugin doesn't target, doesn't destroy.
Well, that's pretty good. And this doesn't prevent me from getting hit in the face?
No.
Ugh. Alright, I'll get hit in the face then.
All of the cards in our hand do nothing.
Yeah, well, our deck sucks. And there's no way that anyone could win anything with this.
Okay, now you're just being mean. We won a match.
We did win a match. Honestly, I mean, I could have played tighter against Dustin in game 3, though I don't know that it would have mattered. I think I could have found a way to win the very first match. I think the ceiling was like 2.1 match wins. Wow. Can I say nice yet?
No.
Yes, I can.
Wait, why?
I don't know. It would be nice if my opponent had Fabled. I mean, nice. It would have been sweet if my opponent had a Fabled Passage available right now, because then one of these triggers would be for 4 instead of a whole bunch of zeros. This is quite the
I ran into this
meaningless.
a lot when I was trying to make Genesis Ultimatum work before it was cool, back with like Risen Reef and stuff, and I would get a lot of terror triggers for like Leafkin Druids.
Yeah.
It's like, do I really have to target this?
Well, I think that there are a lot of cards that will get us out of this one. I mean,
Godzilla.
I mean, once again, Massacre Worm would get us out of this one if we only had the mana to cast it.
I'm so sad. Mechagodzilla has done nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised at all.
Massacre Worm has done nothing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about that either.
I'm not saying I'm surprised.
We weren't going to get an untapped step anyway.
Oh, Scavenging Ooze, how could you? Cast the Heroic Intervention.
Oh, I will. Sorry, I was holding up the F8 for that. And there you have it. So take from this what you will. But I would say science has been done.